Today we will be talking about relative clauses. Well, first of all, we need to know what a clause is. Well, a clause is composed by a subject and a verb. Relative clauses function as adjectives because they modify nouns or pronouns, and they're also known as adjective clauses. They answer the questions what and which. As an example, we have my brother, who is 6 years old, enjoys watching cartoons. Who is 6 years old is a relative clause because it answers the question which is the brother, the one who is 6 years old. Okay? There are two types of relative clauses. We have the restricted relative clauses, which you have to use to make sense in a sentence. You do not use a comma. As an example, mothers who have a job need to manage their times wisely. And for in this example, who have a job is needed within the sentence because if we remove that section from the sentence is not going to make sense. Then we have the second type of relative clauses, the non-restrictive. We do not need it to understand the meaning. It's something as extra information, or as you might call it, icing on the cake. You do use a comma. For example, my sister, who is 7 years old, loves to paint. Who is 7 years old is a non-restrictive relative clause. If you remove who is 7 years old, we are left with the sentence, my sister loves to paint. As you can see, the sentence still makes sense. Relative clauses begin with the relative pronoun. Those relative pronouns are who, which, that, whose, and whom. Who refers to people and sometimes pet animals. They can be restrictive and non-restrictive. Then we have which is used for animals and things. It can be restrictive and non-restrictive. Then we have that. That is used for people, animals, and things. It's more used informally. It's restrictive also. Then we continue with whose. Whose is possessive meaning. It can be used restrictive and non-restrictive. And lastly, we have whom, which is used for people in formal styles or in writing, often with a preposition, rarely in conversations, used instead of who if who is the object. We have common mistakes when it comes to using relative pronouns. Here we have the first one. That cannot be used in a non-restrictive relative clause. As an example, we have this gives me an opportunity to practice my French. That has become a little bit rusty. Well, it's wrong. The correct way is this gives me an opportunity to practice my French, which has become a little bit rusty. Okay, remember, that cannot be used in a non-restrictive relative clause. Okay, second common mistake is what cannot be used as a relative pronoun. As an example, we have they can very easily understand those two languages. What is very helpful? Well, it's wrong. The correct way is they can very easily understand those two languages, which is very helpful. Remember, what is used when you are asking a question. And another mistake, we don't use who for things. Remember that we use who for people and sometimes pet animals. The car who was painted red yesterday looked expensive. No, it's wrong. The right way is the car which was painted red yesterday looked expensive. Now,
Okay, so now we're going to see an example of a sentence with some relative clauses. So the sentence is Eric, who is fascinated by science, attended the university fair that took place in the city, even though the degrees which were being promoted did not fit his field of interest. So First, what we have to do is find the main clause, which here would be Eric attended the university fair that took place in the city. So let's diagram it. So Eric, it is the subject and a proper noun. Attended is a verb and it's in present simple. Fair, it's the direct object and a common noun. So Eric attended what? He attended the fair. So the is a definite article and university is an adjective. So now let's diagram who is fascinated by science. It is a relative clause. It is restrictive. So who is the relative pronoun? Is fascinated is a verb phrase and it's in passive voice, present tense. By science. It is a prepositional phrase. By is a preposition and science is the object of the preposition. Now for fair. It's the university fair that took place in the city. So which university fair? The one that took place in the city. So it's another relative clause. That is the relative pronoun. Took is a verb and it's in past simple. Place, together took place, is an idiomatic expression. It's a phrasal verb without a preposition. Most phrasal verbs have a preposition like throw up, but this is one of those special ones that doesn't. So here in took place, place is a particle. And in the city is a prepositional phrase. In is a preposition, city is the object of the preposition, and the is a definite article. All this is a non-restrictive relative clause. Now, even though the degrees which were being promoted did not fit his field of interest. So even though is subordinating conjunction. So all of this is a subordinating clause. Even though is a subordinating conjunction, degrees is a common noun and it's the subject. The is a definite article. Did fit is a verb phrase and present simple. Did is the auxiliary. Field, it's a common noun and a direct object. So the degrees did fit what? The field. So not is a negative adverb. And his, it's an adjective. Of interest is a prepositional phrase. Of is the preposition and interest is the object of the preposition. Now for which we're being promoted. That is another relative clause. So which we're being promoted is another relative clause. So which is the relative pronoun and we're being promoted is a verb phrase in passive voice and it's past progressive. Where is the verb to be and being is the present participle. So Eric attended the university fair is the main clause. The degrees did not fit his field of interest. It is a subordinating clause, so it's the same thing as an adverbial clause. Which we're being promoted is a relative clause, or the same thing as an adjective clause. Who is fascinated by science is another relative clause. And that took place in the city is another relative clause. And this whole sentence is a complex sentence. So, thank you.
Thank you and follow us on our YouTube channel and Facebook.